What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Pure Passion Podcast. We are back with another episode. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on so that you stay connected with every episode. And if you are returning, welcome back to the Pure Passion Podcast. It's like I don't even know where to start with this one. Honestly, I really don't. But first, I want to start off with giving thanks to God. I'm grateful that I hear his voice. I'm grateful that he's present. I'm grateful that I see him. I'm grateful that he's alive. Like, you know what I mean? There's so much to be grateful for. I was listening to this one service from the Potter's House with Sarah and Torre, and they was just really like highlighting how we should be grateful that we're not random, I'm sorry, that like we wasn't created in a random manner, just put together any old kind of way without a plan over our lives, that we just simply exist. I know everybody doesn't believe that. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't believe that there's a plan for their lives. I remember I took this human communications class in college, and my professor, actually, she was very vocal about how she wasn't a believer and how she just doesn't believe that there's a plan for her life. She believed that what was it? Oh God. She believed that, oh yeah, you are to make the best out of your life, and that it's all on you. And as a believer, of Jesus Christ, I'm glad that it's not all on me. I mean, how could we ever really survive if it was all on us? And I really think that's just the whole point of, walking with Christ in general. That's his point to us, that it's not all on you, that it's not all in your own will and in your own strength and in your own power. When I would watch a lot of testimonies, and I forget his name, but there was this guy on TikTok, and he would just basically ask people like, oh, do you believe in Christ? Do you believe, like, what will get you into heaven and what won't, right? A lot of people, of course, say, oh, just be a good person, like being a good person, or I'm not a bad person. And honestly, it had nothing to do with that I learned just through watching the videos and just through the word and stuff like that. It's not nothing necessarily in your own strength. It has nothing to do with you. You can stand outside for hours with a sign that has a scripture. That's not going to get you into heaven. You can do good deeds for just the whole day, every day. You can spend your whole life. That's not going to get you into heaven. And like, I know that comes off as harsh, like, dang, like, well, what will get me into heaven then? And what I learned was simply, first and foremost, accepting Christ into your life and coming out of your own way with thinking that it had something to do with you. You did something that got you in. The only way and reason why we have a ticket and access to the kingdom and to heaven is through the Son, through Jesus Christ and him dying for our sins. It had absolutely nothing to do with the good deed that you did, because I also learned through watching the videos that, like, if that was the case, if God was judging us based off of our good deeds and then like the bad things that we do, I guess you could say, like sin, the sin would outweigh, because we were born in sin. So it's like, why would he set us up for failure? Why would he set us up with weighing it, with basing, our chance to get into heaven off of the good and the bad that we do? There is no good that we could ever do. There's nothing that we could give him that would qualify us. And that's why he knew he had to wrap himself in flesh, and Jesus Christ walked the earth And yeah, so that was just through me, like, you know, like watching a lot of the videos and stuff like that. So that just really interested me. But all that to say, what God really placed on my heart was tornadoes. I know that sounds crazy. Like, okay, like, where are you gonna go with this? Like, tornadoes? Yes, tornadoes. Okay, let me tell you how this even happened, how this little mini message that just unfolded came about. Okay, so one day I'm chilling, I'm in the house, and Alex, my boyfriend, he wants to take me out on a date. He's like, you know, we love the movies. Like, we're movie junkies, okay? A movie comes out, we're there, like, instantly. All right. Anyway, so it was different because he normally tells me what we're going to see, and he never even told me what we was going to see. So anyway, he comes, he picks me up, cool. We go to the movies. And it dawned on me that I don't even know what we're here for. So I said, okay, you know, what did we come to see? And he said it was a movie called Twister. I don't know if y'all are familiar with this. Some of y'all may already know. Oh, no, I'm not. You know what? I'm not even going to say that. Some of y'all may think y'all know where I'm going with this, but just stay tuned. Okay. So it was a movie, Twister, and I don't like spoiler alerts. I do like to be surprised, but I just want to know the genre. So I'm trying to find the cover in the movie theaters of the movie, and there's no cover on the wall. So now I'm like, okay, this movie's gonna be trash because they're not even advertising it. I'm just overly judged, like just in my head too much, right? So I knew for sure that when we walked to the movie theater that I was going to see it because they got the movie outside of the movie theater. So I did, and I was like, oh, okay, this is it. So I say, well, what is it about? Here I go asking all these questions. He said it's a natural disaster movie. So I am very in tuned spiritually with my surroundings, meaning I'm always connecting some sort of dots. I'm never just simply in the moment. I'm always making a connection between something that happened in the physical and then something that is happening in the spiritual. So the connection that I made was, that's interesting. Like, we're going to see a natural disaster movie, and when we pulled up to the movie theaters, it was pouring. Like, I had to get my umbrella out of my car. It looked like outside the cover of the movie. So that was one, right? Cool. That was just a little minor detail. So anyway, now we're in the movies, and I love movies and shows because I don't know about y'all, but God that is one of our meeting places, actually. He always talks to me through a movie or a show, or I ironically end up revisiting like a TV show that has like a lot of series or seasons in a certain time of my life, and it ends up speaking to me exactly where I'm at in my life. Side note, I'm getting sidetracked. Back to the movie. Okay, so we're in the movies, and the movie starts off with, of course, failure. You know, every movie does. There has to be something that you failed at so that there's a climax, right? So the point of this movie is they chase storms, they chase tornadoes, and not just for fun. They actually have a heart to put a stop to them, to save people's lives, which actually was really interesting to me, because I'm like, yo, I never even knew that was like a field of like work, like a career. Like, you know, at first I thought it was crazy, but it's really courageous because you're trying to save people's lives. If you can figure out a way to combine chemicals that diffuse a tornado and stop it, and that's just so bam. Okay, I'm already like, wow, that's cool in the movie, right? So long story short, in the beginning of the movie, the plan did not go accordingly, and she actually ended up losing her friends in the beginning of the movie due to the tornado. So that kind of stuck with her, and she was just really discouraged from that line of work altogether. So the part of the movie comes up, and it's like 5 years later, right? There's this one guy though that didn't die that night that they went out there. So he pursued his dreams still with this line of work, and he is begging her to come back because he needed her like keen sense of thinking and just how she was fought with it. Okay, she was just like, she knew what she was doing with the tornado. She knew when the wind blew like this, go this way. He just needed her back on the team. Okay, so she goes with him and she freezes up and she's like, I'm sorry. She's just experiencing like a lot of PTSD with it. I mean, like, can you blame the girl? Like, she lost her man, her friend, like all of that to a tornado. Okay, so throughout the movie, it's really pretty much trial and error. Okay, they get to, there's all these different tornadoes popping up and they're chasing them. And the first time she went out there, like I said, she froze up. The second time she went out there with her homeboy, the equipment got swallowed up due to the storm. Okay, so now she ends up kind of meeting this guy that she ends up really falling for, and you know, it kind of re-sparked her drive for this line of work again. So there's this part of the movie where she goes back home, because there's something about going back home that you just rekindle your passion for something, your thinking, the original place of where it started. And she had this science lab in her mom's garage that she conjured up when she was in school, regarding, of course, tornadoes and how to end them and things like that, right? So she goes there and she's revisiting her plans and her notes and just everything that she had on a tornado. So then I stopped. This is, of course, okay, so yes, that was in the movies, but after God kind of spoke to me, I said, okay, God, well, what is the definition of a tornado? So, a tornado is a mobile, destructive vortex of violently winds having the appearance of a funnel-shaped cloud and advertising beneath a large storm system. Okay, and I just want to pause right there, because it was like God was saying the tornadoes represent like our problems in our life. They come out of nowhere in a whirling wind. They will flip your whole day upside down. You don't know how to put a stop to it. So he was making a direct connection of the tornado and relating it to the problems that we face in life. He was saying that these natural disaster tornadoes are much like our internal, external problems that we deal with in our life. It's as if we are literally going through a tornado, right? So then I dug a little deeper and I found that there are different types of tornadoes. Okay, you have water sprouts, you have land sprouts, you have rope tornadoes, you have the dust devil, fire winds, wedge, multi-vortex. The list goes on. Okay, but what was really interesting about not only just having a collective of different tornadoes, but these tornadoes can be ranked according to their destructiveness. So let's say a dust devil is like the worst, and then you got fire winds, and then you got multi-vortex, and they can be ranked according to their destructiveness. But then it got even more deep, because it was like, not only can they be ranked according to their destructiveness, but each tornado is like ranked. It has its own scale of the level of destructiveness that it's at itself. Okay, so for example, like I said, let's say dust devil is the worst one. The dust devil tornado, it has a scale itself. Is the dust devil tornado at a level 1 of violence, a level 2, a level 3, a level 4, so on and so forth? So there was this part in the movie where a news clip came on and it said EF5 level tornado. And it was walking through this lab, and there was posters all over the lab just regarding tornadoes. Okay, so I'm interested, and I'm like, what is the EF5? What does that even mean, right? So that represents the different levels of the tornado that it's at. Again, back to the dust devil example. You have the dust devil at a what they would call a EF1 or EF2 or EF3, so on and so forth, all the way up to 5 being the worst. Okay, so then I said, okay, well, what does that even mean? And EF basically stands for enhanced. Okay, I don't want to say this wrong. Enhanced Fujita. Y'all, I'm sorry. Fujita. I believe that's how you say it. Enhanced Fujita. Okay, and that is, again, the scale that tornadoes are ranked on according to their destructiveness. Okay, so I just had to give that little tidbit right there. I promise you, I'm gonna bring this full circle. Stay with me. All right. So bam, back to the movie. Through her trial and error, right, there's this part in the movie where this is actually the ending of the movie. And this whole movie, she has been trying to basically get her plan in order, get her tools together, get this thing right, because she doesn't want to miss the mark of killing the tornado and ending it. So they had a strategic plan. Okay, the goal to get the tornado to stop was, again, based off of a specific strategy that she has been working on since she was a child in the fair. So one of her formulas that she had conjured up was to mix silver iodine to produce rain in the tornado. Okay, this being released in the tornado will produce rain, which then the sodium is released to absorb the water. And lastly, disputing the twister system and essentially cutting off its fuel. Okay, this specific formula helps to basically choke out the tornado. Okay, and then of course the last step is to save the people, because that is why they do this anyway, right? So that exact formula has failed multiple times on different level tornadoes. So she was discouraged. She felt like, why is my plan not working on this level tornado, on this level tornado, on an E3, on an E1, 2, so on and so forth. Okay, so back to the ending of the movie. So there is this part where another tornado is forming, but this time this tornado is, like, outrageous. It is on fire. It is big. It is bad. Okay, y'all, it is the big bad wolf, and it's just her and this tornado. Her man's that she done fell in love with, he's inside kind of like guarding the people, and it's just her out there in her man's truck facing off with this tornado. Okay, so she does her routine. She releases the gas and her formula into the tornado, and right after that, yes, she actually succeeds, and she cuts the tornado system off and diffuses it. I promise you, it was in that moment, it was like the softest whisper. It was like as if God was sitting next to me, like as if Jesus was sitting next to me in that movie theater, like with his popcorn, with his feet kicked up. It was just like the softest whisper, and he said, "You think that there's something wrong with your plan. I think you was aiming it in the wrong direction." I said, "God, what do you mean? What are you even talking about? Like, I know you did not just pop up in my head as I'm watching, and it was just so quick and so subtle. And see how God works with me. It's like he'll talk to me, and how do I explain this? The best way I can explain it is like so much is happening in spirit, in conversation form, but in the physical, it would appear as if the conversation was like 2 seconds, right? But there was so much said. He was saying so much in like the short amount of time, but it just felt so long. So I said, God, what do you mean? And he basically highlighted to me that you see how her brilliant idea, her formula, it wasn't working on no other tornado except for this one, except for this big bad wolf tornado. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely see that. Like, why did that happen that way? And God told me there's a lot of us that are questioning him and are basically wanting to know, God, why hasn't this worked? Why hasn't my plan worked? Why have what I've been pouring my heart and soul into for years have not bloomed? Why is it still here? Why do I keep experiencing failure? And what he highlighted to me was that a lot of us are wasting our plan, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with it, but we're wasting it on a E1. I'm sorry, a EF1. I think I'm saying that the right way. There's a certain terminology with these tornadoes. A EF1 size problem. He said that you're wasting it on a baby tornado, on a baby problem, when you could be aiming it at something much bigger. Because if I would have allowed your plan that actually I gave you, by the way, if I would have allowed that brilliant God-given idea, if I would have allowed that plan to execute on this type of problem, you would have thought that that was all that plan was capable of doing. I had to give you a bigger problem so you could see the weight of the plan, the weight of just everything that I basically packed in you. He was telling me that I didn't want you to waste it on that type of level, or this type of level, or that type of level. I wanted you to actually aim it in this direction. And he was basically showing me that, like, you need to aim higher. You're mad at me, and you basically don't understand, and you feel like you're left out, and you feel like nothing is working, and you feel like I've been at it for years. I'm getting all the signs to keep going, like my passion for it never left, but I kind of left from the passion. Like, I don't know if that's just me, but like, you have the passion for something. I'm sorry, the passion never left you, but you left the passion. You're like, goodbye, okay? I don't care how much I love it. I don't love you no more, okay? Because you're getting on my nerves. Like, it was like that. But God is like, I put that in you for a reason. There was a reason why her passion for the tornado never left, for chasing it, for that line of work. It was embedded in her. There was nothing wrong with her plan. She just needed something. Y'all know that saying where they say, pick on somebody your own size. It's like God gives us our own size problem so that it's attached to the plan and the weight that he put behind us, So it was like he was highlighting to me, and it's like he was saying, you say, God, why do I have these problems? Why so much? Like, where is all this coming from? And God says, the formula you have been working on, that plan that you have been at for years, that you think has like basically been in vain because of no results. He says, aim it at something bigger. Stop shooting low. Stop going low. Basically, that you need it to fail at that E1 size problem. You need it to fail. If I would have allowed that formula, again, like, I really feel that I have to say that again. If he would have allowed that formula that he gave you to take out that baby problem, you would have thought that that was all that he gave you was capable of doing. You know what I mean? Like, we would have said, oh wow, we would have never even dared to aim at something bigger, because we would have thought, oh, I need to boost my plan up, I need to get more ammunition, I need to get more tools. That could never handle something like that. And God is basically saying, it's perfect the way it is, and like, you're ready the way, like, you think you're not ready, but you're more ready than you think. Okay. And it was just like this whole kind of slowed down, dragged out moment that he was showing me. And it was amazing, because I said, wow, I really relate to that. Like, that is so true. There are a lot of things that I always kind of felt like, why has this not worked? And basically, it's his way of saying, you need to pick on something your own size. Stop aiming it at something babyfied, because that's not basically going to have no glory behind it. And he told me basically, like, let the glory show up through the life-size problem that you stop. God is saying you just can't waste it on a mediocre problem like that. Like, you're too special, you're too smart. That's just not basically like what I have for you. And then he showed it to me like this. So it was like a stick figure, right? And then the stick figure represented you. And then next to that stick figure, it was an oval circle, and it said your plan, right? And then next to that, it was another oval sized circle, but it was smaller. It was smaller than your plan circle. And that smaller circle represented the problem. Okay. And in that diagram, he was basically showing me that your plan is bigger than your problem. Okay. And then it was another example where it was an oval and it said your plan, and then it was another oval and it said your problem. And this time the circles matched. They were the same height and length. They matched each other. So he was showing it to me like that, like, you're trying to waste this big plan on this small problem. Like, I have something so much more for you. I have something bigger for you. So then I start thinking, okay, like, what else does this apply to, God? Like, like, keep, like, basically, like, revealing how much this can be attached to. And it was like he was showing me and telling me, if I would have allowed you to get accepted into that school, you would have never known that you was, in an example, really like Harvard material. If I would have allowed you to be accepted by those people in that friend group, you would have thought that was all that there was to you. But God was telling me, you need to aim higher. You have a life-size problem because you have a life-size gift. The size of the problems you're facing is the proof of how powerful you are, like through Christ. And that really just blew my mind, because he just kept talking to me about that, about how, like, you can't just waste what I gave you on something like that. Like, we think we're pouring our all into this problem that we think we have to handle, and God is like, oh my gosh, you're wasting it. Stop wasting it on that. That's not even like a problem for real. Like, he's looking at like that's not even a problem for real. Like, you keep saying that's a problem. That's not a problem. I have a real problem for you. Okay. And it's like he wants to point us in a direction of where he's saying, like, okay, how about you move here? Perform here, sing here. You want to perform over there because you think that's where you need to be. He's saying, no, perform here. I have a bigger stage for you. You want to sing over here with these people, and he's saying, no, sing here. I have a bigger arena for you. And for the dancers out there, you want to dance here. And he's like, how about you try dancing with these type of people? We keep dumbing ourselves down, I think was the point of the whole tornado message that he was giving me. You keep dumbing yourself down to mediocre things because that's where you think that you belong, and you're scared to aim at something bigger. And that was the point of the tornado finally working, and her plan finally working on that big tornado. Out of all the tornadoes that her brilliant plan could have executed on, it finally executed on the worst tornado. Because you see, that's the proof that she had the best plan. It needed the worst problem. Your best plan needs the worst scenario to really fully unpack the load of like how brilliant and like capable you are, basically, right? So he was showing me in a sense of direction, like, okay, you want to go to school here, I think you should go here. You want to move here, I think you belong here. Like, I wait till you hear and see what I think about you. You think this way about you, but I promise you, I see you in a different light. Y'all know that scripture, before I knew you, before your mother's womb. That, oh my gosh, even just listening to like Sarah and them, that always stuck with me, because like, before your mother's womb is crazy. That's crazy. Like, we were with him for real. We just don't remember. But our spirit remembers for us. That's why, like, you can pray and like ask your spirit to speak on your behalf if you don't know the words, because your spirit knows him and has been there. It's just we don't have a conscious mind of remembering. That's a side note. But yeah, so I was really resonating with that. I said, wow, her plan finally worked. And again, it was in that moment when he whispered to me and he said, you think there was something wrong with the plan. I think you was aiming it in the wrong direction. I said, God, what? I said, what? Oh my gosh, if only I could just go back and like look at myself in that moment, that would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. Okay, so, right. That whole moment and the slowed down motion time was just incredible to me, because he just kept going and he kept emphasizing to me again that like, you would have thought that that was the best your formula could do, and you would have missed the opportunity to see how powerful it really was. Like, you would have missed the opportunity to perform on something worth the plan and like worth the formula. And then he told me that you are the formula. Like, you are the formula. You are the message. You are the one who's going to be sent. Sometimes you look for people. Oh, somebody need to come do this. Somebody needs to make this. Somebody, like, you are that. We are really packed with more than we know, but we like put ourselves in a different box. And I really don't know why we do that. I mean, we could talk about it if y'all want to talk about it. There's a lot of reasons why we do that. Just in society, you know, shaming yourself and like you're not good enough, all of that. But in a nutshell, it's like, you really do count yourself out. And the plan and the things, specifically, I think he was speaking to the people who have been in the field. And I don't necessarily mean that work, but I guess that'll apply to that. But what I mean by in the field is like, you have been like a gardener, like in the garden, like minding your crops and your vegetables and all of this stuff, only to find like rabbits or something got to it, and you're discouraged and you just want to rip it out the ground and just, you know, act like your passion isn't there for it. But it is. The problem that God was highlighting is you put yourself in a box that's too small. And he was basically telling me that I love you too much to let what you've been working at to pour out and get the glory of what you want it to work at. If I will allow that to happen, I really can't get off of this, because he keeps emphasizing this to me. If I would have allowed that to happen, you would have stopped there. You would have never even bothered giving a bigger size issue a time or day, because you swore up and down that you belonged in this box, that this was your lane. He is telling us to go bigger, because he'll back us up. You know, he knows the plans that he has for us. He's saying, go bigger, go bigger, go bigger, go bigger. Okay. And that whole thing again came full circle that second when that tornado finally worked. And I was just blown away, because I'm like, yo, it actually worked. And again, I don't mean to be repetitive, but again, he said, there's nothing wrong with the plan. You think there's something wrong with your plan. It's something wrong with your direction. Stop aiming it over there to an E1 sized problem, aka tornado. How about you come tackle a big bad wolf? How about you come do that? And we're like, I don't want that. Oh no, I can't handle that. But God says he thinks you can. He knows you. before your mother. He knew, he made you. He knows what you're capable of. So if he is presenting it to you, the presentation itself is the proof that you can handle it. He wouldn't present it if he didn't think that you were strong enough for it. So, oh my gosh, I remember when I zoned out of that, what felt like the longest conversation ever, and I was just so excited. I said, oh my gosh, babe, I got a word. He just gave me a word through this tornado. And I was so happy. I was in the car. I tried to write down what I could remember, and it was just really up from there. So that really spoke to me regarding tornadoes, because they're like tornadoes. There's different tornadoes, and they're ranked based off of their destructiveness, and we can rank our problems based off of the destructiveness that we're experiencing in our life. For example, if you got car problems, if you got rent problems, if you're having financial problems, if you're having relationship problems, all of those can be ranked according to what is worse, like the worst to not so worst, like the least to the greatest, right? And then within that ranking, there's another ranking. What level of just what level is your financial problems at? Like, how bad is it? What level is, if you're experiencing relationship issues, what level is that at? Is it at a 10, like it's just toxic and you need to leave? Or is that at a 5 and you're experiencing stuff? It's the same thing with the tornadoes. There's tornadoes, they're ranked, and then in that ranking, there's another ranking based on the level of that tornado that it's at itself. And that is so life. Like, that's life right there. That's life. Tornado, how tornadoes work and their whole like just system is life. And I don't know nothing about tornadoes. I just really had to do my little research because God wanted to just speak to me in the movies. So I had to do all this tornado research. But y'all, point is, I don't know what you've been working on, and what you've been just kind of like a gardener in the field, just nurturing like it's your child. But God is saying, don't get frustrated with your passion because you think it's not working. He's saying, I love you too much to ever let it work on what you're trying to let it work on. I need you to aim at something bigger, because you're bigger than what you're trying to make this plan, make what you are babying birth. He's saying, I can't let you deliver this year. Oh my God, I just got another example. It's like you're pregnant with a child and you want to have the child, I don't know, let's say you pick somewhere, you just want to birth this child right here in the house or in the car, or I don't know, just this is an example. And he's like, I love you too much to ever let you birth that child, aka that brilliant plan, your gift that I put in you. I put that in you. I love you too much to let you push it out here. I need you to come over here. The problem is, we don't think we're worth where he wants us to deliver. That's the problem. And that's where you gotta do self-work, because that's not true. There's so much stuff that makes us feel like we're not qualified, but we are qualified. What was that saying? Not a saying, I think the scripture. He will qualify he qualifies the unqualified, or he will qualify the unqualified. Like, you think you're not qualified, you are. Oh my God, that made me think about the other one, when it's like he captivates captivity. Like, what the problems that are surrounding you, he's surrounding that. Like, you're good. Like, I promise you, you're good. You're good. Oh, I don't know that story. It's in the Bible. Y'all help me. What was it? He didn't believe, and he was like, God, show them what we're working with. Like, he basically like open up his eyes so that he could see in the spiritual realm what we're really working with. And then he was able to see that they were surrounded by angels. Like, he saw the enemies and the people coming up against them, trying to fight. And then when God opened his spiritual eye, he saw the angels that was surrounding the enemies. Like, the problems that you feel like are surrounding you in your life, they're surrounded by your angels, by God. You know, you really got to believe that. You really do. Like, life is too hard to not believe in Jesus. I'm gonna just flat out say it. And I'm not saying that like if you, oh, just believe in something, but no, for real, like it's just it's so much. But yes, I just had to share that with y'all because that really spoke to me. It really did. Like, for real, it really, really did. That's why I started off with just saying what I was thankful for, because I don't know where I would be if I didn't really hear God's voice, or if I wasn't able to be in tune with him like that. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't make anybody perfect or less perfect, because we also deal with that. Like, you know, God, I want to walk with you, but I also do this. Or like, God, I want to do, like, help me. How do I show up in the world with you? But I know that I'm still dealing with this on the side. And sometimes we will also let that make us feel like we're not ready to be with him or walk with him because you're not perfect enough. Everybody that God used in the Bible, they had something wrong. One was not a murderer. One was a thief. And oh yeah, I think there was one that's murder. And he used them. So that goes back into this message that I'm sharing. You cannot disqualify yourself. You can't disqualify yourself. You know, I really was debating on sharing this, but I'm really just gonna go ahead and share it. I recently just came back from Orlando. It was my mom's birthday, and we went to Tier. She wanted, I'm sorry, what was it? Okay, yeah. We went to Club Tier in Orlando, and we just took her out for her birthday. You know, we had her little section, and we had a great time, right? So this is actually a side note, y'all. I wasn't even really gonna share this, but here we are, right? So we're chilling, right? And we had this section at the top. So we wasn't amongst the people on the floor just crowded. So I had this overview look of the crowd, and this Bible verse came to my head, and I was thinking about, well, no, it didn't really happen in that moment, but it came to me later. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, it came to me later. But point is, it said, seek me in all of your ways, right? Seek me in all of your ways. What does that mean? That means God doesn't want you to seek him when you had a good week and you feel like you've been on a streak. God doesn't want you to seek him only when you leave church, only when you get done reading the Bible. He wants you to seek him in all of your ways. Yes, after you got done doing that thing you had no business doing, yeah, he wants you to seek him. He wants you to seek him after you did something that might have been bad or good or whatever it is. He says seek him in all of your ways. So here I am in the club with my mom and my brother and my sister, and I'm looking at the crowd, and I see this one girl. She is like way past drunk. I believe something manifested. She's screaming. She just looks angry, right? So I'm looking and I'm like, wow. I'm like, God, this is a lot. I said, you got, you know, we all in here having a good time. It's lit, you know. Okay, everybody's rocking out. It's in Florida, so they was heavy with Kodak. You know what I'm saying? They was just okay. It was just lit. I'm not gonna lie, it was lit. But like I said, my head, because I'm always in tune spiritually, I'm never just fully in the moment. I'm always making a connection, and it's not even that I'm purposely always trying to make a connection. It just happens. So I remember saying to myself, I started having a conversation with God in my head, and I said, God, where are you in this club? I said, Jesus, where are you in this club? I want to see you in this club. I want to see you. That sounds so crazy. Okay, but I did. I said, God, where are you in here? You said, seek me in all of your ways. Well, here I am, celebrating my mom's birthday in Club Tier in Orlando. Where are you at in here? All of a sudden, he answers. He says, if you wasn't afraid of what people would think of you, what song would you play? I said, what? I said, what? He said, what song would you play? Basically, like, if you was the DJ and you didn't care what people thought of you. Because don't act like, y'all know when you in the car with your friends, you might not play certain stuff because you care what they think. Or at least some of us, okay? Some of us who are struggling with not caring what people think, okay? I'm talking to y'all, all right? There's certain stuff that you just wouldn't play. So don't do me, okay? Because y'all know. Anyway. So I said, okay, if I didn't care what people thought, what would I play? I said, I would play Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA. Why? Because, I don't know, there's something about throwbacks. I'm a throwback girly, okay? I love the throwbacks. I love when us, like, 1999, 2002, 2001, we all just vibing out over just, y'all know the throwback loving they mouth, Disney Channel, Let It Shine, like, all of that, Hannah Montana, all of that, because we know it word for word. We know it, and we be lit. It's just I don't know. It's just like a loving kind of vibe, right? So I said I would play Hannah Montana, Party in the USA. Guys, I kid you not. Right hand on the Bible, okay? Right hand on the Bible. I'm trying to get as close as I can to it. Tell me why that song played. Tell me why Party. Tell me why Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus played. I said, God, I'm sitting there on the rail I'm like, I know you're lying. He blew my mind. He always blows my mind. Like, Jesus could show me the same magic trick every day and I would be blown away every time. It would just never get old. That's how I feel with him. It never gets old. It's like, it's really the same thing between me and him. He just keeps showing up. And it just blows my mind every time. So I said, God, I know you lying. I know this song did not just play right now. Like, there's no way this is playing. So then like, he let me calm down. He lets me calm down. And he said, as I'm looking over the crowd, he said, this is the type of influence that I want to give you. But, there was a but. He said, but I'm calling you higher. So it was like he was saying, I'm calling you higher than this, but I want to give you influence like this. What do I mean by that? Okay. If you're a personal trainer regarding like working out and food, okay, dieting, and you're a coach with students and members, right? You have influence over them. What do you have influence over? You have influence over changing their mind based on what they eat, how much water they consume in a day. If they're doing their workouts, you have influence over them in a positive way. Some people say, when you hear influence, you're like, oh, it's bad. No. You can have a positive influence. As a trainer, you have that influence in the category of food and dieting. As a teacher, you have influence over your students, basically shaping the way they think about college and what they want to do with their life. There's certain influence. So when he said that, he was saying he was targeting influence over large crowds. Oh my God. And it just really spoke to me. He said, I want to give you influence like this, but I'm calling you higher. And again, the category of influence that he was talking about was over large crowds. As I was looking at a large crowd, I'm trying to explain it the best way that I can, because talking with him is so more spiritual than it ever will be physical. Even though he can use the physical to talk to you, everything is happening in spirit, right? So I'm like, wow. And in that moment, I also realized I had to check myself. Like, this is why you can't judge people. This is why you can't judge people. Somebody could have been looking at me in that club and swore up and down that I didn't love God, that I didn't love Jesus, that I don't know the Lord, that look at everybody in here, just sinners, 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 right? This is why you can't judge people. You have no idea where somebody is at with God. You have no idea where somebody is at in their walk. You have no idea what is going on through their head. And in that moment, he really just highlighted to me just influence. Like, I want to give you influence, but I'm calling you higher. Like, it was almost like, don't get it twisted, right? It was his attitude, like, don't get it twisted. Like, I see you, but I'm calling you higher. But yes, I do want to give you influence, but I'm gonna need you to come up a little higher, right? So that was just, oh my God, y'all. When Miley Cyrus played, when I said, I would play Miley Cyrus. Yeah, good vibes, bring us back, throwback. It brings some sort of peace about us, unity, uniting over just throwbacks. All I heard was, I said, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And that was a little side note. Like I said, I didn't even plan on really sharing that. That's not even really in my notes, but here we are. So yeah, you can't judge people. You cannot judge people. Testimonies, listening to testimonies also has helped me. I'm gonna put the link in that, by the way. Shout out to Lauren, okay? My girl at work put me on. And I love that. I love listening to testimonies. It really helps you not judge people. It really helps you just see where people are at in their life and how they got to Christ. And really just stop judging people. Like, honestly, like, you really can't judge people. You just don't know. You just not in their head. Like, you would never know. You would never know. So, guys, that was all that I have for y'all today, okay? I hope that somebody connected with that and that everybody stayed to the end. This one was a little lengthy, but it's okay. It's all good. We're here for it, right? So my next episode, like I said, I do first Fridays. When is this? August. So September will be the next episode, okay? Please stay tuned into the Pure Passion podcast and never miss any new episodes. Turn on that notification bell so you can stay connected with everything that's going on the channel. Okay, I know it's a lot, but I believe everything is for a purpose. So like I said, I hope you guys resonated with that. I thank you guys for listening and tuning in, and I will catch y'all in the next episode. Bye.